Hey guys, it's Moogalore here, and I'm back again with another video. And this video is going to be a movie review. I know I haven't really done these in a while, and I haven't really done a much on my YouTube channel, but I try to do movies that I'm really passionate about and that I really enjoyed a lot. So if you guys haven't checked out my first movie review, which was Wonder Woman, which I reviewed last year, make sure you go check it out. You may like it. So today I'm going to be reviewing Avengers Infinity War, because if you guys don't know, this movie was released yesterday, and I must say this movie was amazing. Now, before I get into the review, I just want to warn you guys that this review will definitely have some spoilers in it. So I'm just warning you just now, so you don't get disappointed or get surprised that I caught you off guard. That I said a couple story elements that may have been detrimental to the plot. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled, please turn off this video and come back once you've seen the movie, and so we can all have a nice discussion about it. So I warned you. Now let's begin. For starters, I just want to say that yesterday was a great night. I hung out with my brothers Keo Lancer, DX Strike, and the rest of the fellas. We all went out, got together, and we went to go see the 8 o'clock p.m. showing at the Neshannock Mall in Philadelphia. But the thing was, when we got there, we had an extra friend that decided he wanted to come at the last minute, because we had ordered our tickets online, and since he came in at the last minute, he didn't order his tickets online. So when we tried to get a ticket there for the 8 p.m. for him, the 8 p.m. was sold out, which means that he wouldn't be able to go into the theater with us. So we decided to take our ticket and switch it to a later time. We tried to switch it at least to 9:15, I believe it was, or 9:30, but that couldn't happen because those showings were sold out as well. So we had to get the latest, which was 10:45, which didn't matter because we was at the Neshannock Mall. So we pretty much went around the mall, and we just, all of us, just broing it out and just having a good time hanging out with the fellas, you know, bonding and stuff like that. And then we went to go get something to eat, and then 10:45 we went to go step into the theaters. So I must say, man, that if you're a comic book fan and you enjoy comic books and you enjoy comic book movies, you have to go see this movie. And I just want to give props to the Russo brothers, because the Russo brothers are the main engineers behind putting together this epic ensemble of characters, and they've done a good job balancing everything out. Now the thing is, when the Russo brothers was first brought on to these Marvel Cinematic movies, starting I believe with Civil War, I was pretty nervous, because I was wondering how they will be able to squeeze in as many characters as they could while telling a good plot and just balancing out the overall action and everything. And they proved they had the capabilities of doing it in Captain America Civil War. So stepping into this movie, knowing the fact that there's about, I believe, 76 Marvel characters in this film, they had a big task ahead of them, and yet they pulled it off. I wonder what kind of sorcery that Disney and Marvel has back there at the studio to have these guys come in and just do the amazing job that they have done with this movie. So that being said, I want to talk about the characters and how they balance these characters out. Now the thing is, the Russo brothers perfectly, or I would say they did it without a break of a sweat, by giving these characters a purpose. Each and every last character was given a purpose, and he was given a specific task that needed to be done. And once they pretty much performed their task, they pretty much exit the movie, they exit the scene, which was perfectly fine with me. The thing I don't like with most movies when they have a bunch of characters is where they don't have enough time to develop the characters, and not just develop the characters, that they have the characters doing useless things or they serve no real purpose. Which the thing is, what bothered me about the Defenders Netflix series, where you had Luke Cage and you had Jessica Jones most of the time underutilized because of their powers and everything, and it wasn't much given to them to, for them to do. But in this movie, every character had a purpose, and it affected the overall story in a good way. So, for instance, you had Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Hulk. They were on Earth, and from the fight sequence and everything from Earth, they were sent to Thanos' ship, and they took the rest of their arc all the way over to Thanos' home planet, which is Planet Titan. And then you had Captain America. You also had the others, which is Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, and Vision. The others, they were in Wakanda prepping for a battle in which that Tony and them were already doing on Titan, and he was prepping for the battle for when Thanos come down with the invasion. And then of course you had the Guardians of the Galaxy, well, a portion of the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is Rocket Raccoon and Groot and Thor. They were doing their segments in space, so Thor can prep to get his new Mjolnir axe, hammer axe, hammer, or whatever. So everybody was doing different things, but it overall connected, while Thanos is going around collecting the gems, which I believe was really good. I appreciate what the Russo brothers had done as far as the balancing the characters. Now, let's talk about the visuals a little bit. Not much to really say about it because they really done a good job with that. Typical Marvel Cinematic Universe fashion. Very bright, very colorful, very vibrant. Something that you will always expect. And despite how dark the theme of this movie was, everything was still upbeat and everything still meshed together pretty well. The CGI was really amazing, but a couple of parts, which I'll get into the cons area or whatever like that, which is not really many cons, but the visual effects was pretty good, especially the Black Order. The Black Order was done pretty well with their visual effects. I thought they were pretty awesome. And of course Thanos, it seemed like Thanos was actually there with the human characters on the set, on the screen at the same time. They animated him really well. The lightning effects with Doctor Strange, with his abilities, with with the reality bending and stuff like that, I thought that was pretty well. And also them traveling to different planets were pretty amazing with the vibrant colors, the water effects and everything. I thought that was awesome. So that wraps everything up with the visuals. I think the visuals was pretty good. Now let's get into the bit of the action, because the bit of action was really where the crux and the meat of where this movie had pretty much had taken place. Now, what I appreciate about action, and what I like the most about action, is where you're deeply invested in the characters and their motivations and why they are fighting for what they are fighting for. And I really think that they've done a good job, because they were action from beginning of the film to the end of the film. Starting with when the film first come on, Thor's ship from Thor Ragnarok was under attack. When when the movie comes on, Thor and his Black Order is there. Thanos and his Black Order is there. And you see mostly a lot of the Asgardians defeated, killed, destroyed, and everything. And you see Thor, a battered Thor, just pretty much butchered. I mean, he's just beat to death. Like, he's just powerless. Nothing he can do about it, because Thanos really wrecked Thor. And then what I like the most about the relationship and the development of Loki as a character is the fact is that you've seen that he cared about his brother Thor, despite how much he hated him throughout the different Marvel films. It really showed that he had some humanity, he had some care for his brother Thor, and because Thanos was threatening to try to kill Thor if he didn't tell him where the Tesseract was at. And then from there, Hulk barges in, and when Hulk comes in, out the door, out the gate, they have Hulk in a Thor fight sequence at the beginning of the film. I couldn't believe this. I thought we was going to see this later. No, they give us Hulk versus Thor at the beginning of the film. You coming in with hypeness, like with hype. Like, how do you, how? Like Russo brothers. Like, this is just amazing. Like, and I'm sitting in my seat, just grip tight to my seat, and like, oh my God, Thor is fighting, not Thor, Thanos is fighting Hulk, and this is amazing. And you see the Black Order just laughing, saying like, let Thanos have a bit of fun with Hulk. And then after that, man, Thanos served Hulk like he was piecing him up. He was piecing him up. He was just giving him that treatment. He was just treating him, just piecing him up. And it was like, I never seen Hulk as helpless. And Hulk was afraid, because after he beat Hulk, you didn't see Hulk for the rest of the movie. He was just Banner. Hulk would not come out for the rest of the film, and that was crazy. So out the gate, they done a good job with portraying the action, and throughout that, we seen everybody get a chance to shine. As far as Doctor Strange is concerned, I think Doctor Strange, they really did a good job of pretty much displaying his abilities even more, besides his movie from the Doctor Strange movie. But in this movie, you seen him pulling out all the stops, the different illusion effects, and what he did with the time stone. I thought that I thought was pretty cool. I thought that was awesome as well. And then of course, Spider-Man. Everybody wanted to see Spider-Man in action. And I think the scenes that he had with him interacting with everybody and the fight sequences, and how they pretty much comboed with one another. They all of their attacks were all in sequence, and I really enjoyed that. And then another thing that I really appreciate by the end of it is it showed the fact that everybody on the team, every Avenger, they had something to fight for, and they had no time to be afraid. And even though, no matter how much of a powerhouse Thanos was in the film, They weren't afraid to back down. Star-Lord was giving it to Thanos. Spider-Man was giving it to Thanos. Iron Man, that one-on-one sequence between Iron Man and Thanos was awesome. I mean, Tony was pouring out all the stops with his turning his suit into different weapons. He was doing everything in his power to try to stop Thanos because he had something that he loved back at home, which was pepper pots, and he loved his home world. He loved Earth. He wanted to make sure to protect it, you know. And I thought that was pretty neat. So, just not to go, because I can talk all day about action. We can talk about the action all day, but we have to move on because the thing I really want to talk about the most, which is the villain. And the thing is, Marvel always has a villain problem in the past with most of their Marvel films. Most of their villains, they're just there as sub bosses just to move the plot along, and they don't really have any real motivation or deep plots. But besides Loki and Killmonger, I think Thanos was well developed. It really had you think about his character, because I really appreciate what they've done with this character, because I was really nervous going into this movie as far as Thanos is concerned. Is because we only got a little bit of Thanos's backstory pocketed or sprinkled throughout each of the Marvel films, but the only time we really got a real gist of his character was through Guardians of the Galaxy, when Gamora was explaining a bit about Thanos's motivation and why he's doing the things that he's doing. So when I walked into this movie, I was like, how did he explain this in the 2 hours and 30 minutes or 2 hours and 45 minutes of this film, since we haven't really got much of them throughout anything? And this is supposed to be an epic ensemble of characters. This will be one of the most epic get-togethers or Marvel team-ups movies ever made right now. So what I realized about this character, which I liked about this character, is it had me questioning Thanos. Like, is Thanos really a bad guy? If you think about it, when you watch the movie, think about his motivations and why he's doing the things that he's doing. Because when you look at it, he's saying that, you know, he wants to balance the universe, you know, because on his home planet, which is Titan, his planet was on the verge of extinction, which it ended up happening anyways, because he was saying that there was too much life, or the planet became overpopulated. And what happened was, the more the populace that exists, the more resources that get used and get drained. And if there's if all the resources run out, then everyone dies. And he was pretty much telling his people that genocide would have to happen, or lives would have to be taken in order to balance out life and death, and for there to be enough resources to go around for the people that's left, which was pretty interesting. And everybody thought he was crazy. And at the end of the day, Planet Titan ended up withering away and ended up dying because all the resources ended up being used. So he went around to all over the galaxy, just eliminating life, and just to bring balance, to make sure people had food and were able to prosper and able to live. And he was saying was that he don't want selective genocide, he want random genocide, meaning that if he's going to genocide, it doesn't matter what the person's status, doesn't matter the person's color and stuff like that. Those people have to go in order to bring balance. So as he's going around to the different parts of the galaxy, just wiping out life in order to bring balance, to make sure others get a chance to have a future and actually get to live. And that's what brings him in to meet Gamora when he goes down to the planet where Gamora lived at when she was a little girl. She was starving. She had nothing to eat. She had nothing. She was pretty much begging from scraps and everything. And he was killing. He was going around killing her people, and to make sure that the future generation will have food and will have shelter and have these things, now that these resources are now, you know, there's enough for them to use and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty interesting. So he did have, I guess you say, no matter how sick and twisted it was, of like what his motivations was, he said it as if he really cared about what he meant, because he wanted the Infinity Stones. With the snap of his finger, people get eliminated from the universe, and that those who are left get to prosper, or those who get left can be able to utilize those resources in order to eat, and in order to sustain life or sustain themselves as a civilization or as a species or as a people and everything. So it was really some things to really think about it. And he was saying that the way he's going about it is he's actually giving people mercy by using the Infinity Stone. What he's doing is, with a snap of a finger, those people never get a chance to suffer and feel the pain of death. They just disappear from existence. So that's his way of showing those people mercy, by killing them that way, than to actually physically murdering these people. So it had a lot of, his character had a lot of layer underneath him. I thought he was really an interesting character, which brings into the effect, once he did use the Infinity Gauntlet and he snapped his finger, and we noticed that most of the Avenger character or Avenger cast members had died. Black Panther went away. It's still clear. I'm still trying to remember everything. We had Black Panther. We had Black Falcon. We had Scarlet Witch. Who else disappeared? You had Star-Lord disappeared. We had Mantis. She disappeared. Man, it was so many characters that disappeared, and that's what made me scratch my head. And it validated what Thanos said, because after those Marvel characters had pretty much died and wiped away from existence after he snapped his finger, it brought it back to what he was saying, was that he wanted random genocide, meaning that he left it to fate to wipe out those who needed to be wiped out. Because I was saying that if he has the Infinity Stone, why didn't he just kill all the Avengers? No, he left it to fate to decide who gets wiped out and who survives. So that character was pretty interesting, and that's all I really want to go into as far as the villain's concerned. I think the villain was well put together, and I thought the action was pretty good. I love the action from beginning to end. The visuals were nice, and of course I love the balance between the characters, and I love the soundtrack. Now, there's only a couple cons. I wouldn't say I had a bunch of cons. I think when it came to some of the special effects, I think the Bruce Banner sequences where he was inside the Hulkbuster, especially at the end when the other Avenger members were wiped from existence. Oh yeah, and Spider-Man died went away, wiped from existence as well. I didn't like the fact is when they were standing there mourning the loss of the other Avengers character, you had Bruce Banner sitting in the Hulkbuster suit, and it just looked horrible. Some of this visual effects when it came to Banner, and when it came to also War Machine Rhodey, when he was sitting there and he kept the camera on those two characters for too long, you could see the CGI. You see their heads is much bigger than the body itself, which looked out of place. But other than that, that was a con that I had. And then the other con that really scratched my head was, like, at the beginning when the invasion did happen on the ship that Thor was on, what happened to the other characters? We know that Heimdall died. What happened to Valkyrie? The Valkyrie that was with them. They were all on the ship together. It didn't explain if she died or did the characters split off. So that thing kind of had me scratching my head, because we don't know what happened to some of those characters. But other than that was the only two cons that I had with the movie. But other than that, man, this was a great film. I'll give this movie a 9 out of 10. It was an awesome film, and I suggest that you guys definitely go check it out. Great villain, great action, well-balanced characters, nice plot, and it left you on a cliffhanger. It left you with a cliffhanger to, well, now you have to wait. It leaves you excited for for Avengers 4. And then you had an ending credit scene to where Nick Fury at the end, he also disappears. Also Maria, I think, she disappears as well. But before he disappeared, and Samuel Jackson says his famous line, mother, and he disappears, and he pressed the button on his communicator, and then you look at the communicator, you had Captain Marvel, I call her Miss Marvel, but the Captain Marvel logo pops up, and then it goes off. So it's pretty much hyping you and getting you ready, prepped for the Captain Marvel movie, which after that it's going to lead into the Avengers 4 movie. So that's pretty much my review. A 9 out of 10. I really enjoy it. I suggest that you guys go check the film out. You haven't checked the film out. If you did, let's have a discussion. Give me your thoughts on it. What do you think about Thanos as a character? Do you think he's a well-developed character? Do you think he's really a bad guy in a way, and his thought process and everything? And another thing I forgot, Red Skull was also put in there, and even though he wasn't in there for long, you got a chance to understand where he went and how and what happened to him as well. But yeah, give me your thoughts on that, and how many times are you willing to go see the movie? I'm about to go see it for a second time, because I definitely need to get that I need the fiend on that movie. I need to inject it in my veins right now. I really loved it. So make sure you hit the bell at the bottom of this video to get notified when I upload new videos. And if you want to see more movie reviews from me, let me know. I like to do this once more and more, and because I enjoy doing this stuff as well. So this is Muga Lord. I'm signing off, and I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.